Alright, what's up everybody? It's Easy through here back with a brand new video. First want to apologize. I know I had told that I had planned on recording this last night and then setting it on a schedule to upload at around 10 to 11, knowing that I had work in the morning. I wouldn't be able to record in the morning. Again, I got pretty sleepy and forgot, and it's now 7 p.m. where I am. Got home from work. I actually missed my favorite team playing today. It's whatever though. But we're here now. A lot of games have already happened today, and I'm getting the second round. Some upsets have happened. I'm just gonna leave it there. But today we're going to finish covering the second day of the first round, which was yesterday. First game was USC versus Michigan State. This was a pretty good game. Michigan State pulled out late. They played great. They shot well. Tom Izzo, it's a very great coach, and normally always has his team playing great in March, except for when they were the 2 seed, losing to Middle Tennessee. But other than that, they're always a very dangerous March team, especially when they're a lower seed. And like they're a 7 seed. They'll be playing Marquette, I think, in the second round tomorrow. So potential upset there. Kennesaw State versus Xavier almost upset Xavier. They actually were up for quite a bit of the game. I think they were up by 13 at one point, but Xavier came back and played great defense on the stretch and pulled out the win late in the game. USCB was keeping up with Baylor for most of the game, but towards the end, Baylor pulled ahead, and then it ended up being only 20 points. VCU and St. Mary's, the same thing. VCU played great. It was a great game, back and forth. VCU seemed like they were the better team that day, but St. Mary's at the end again pulled out, and VCU couldn't hit the shots they needed late. Vermont and Marquette also a little bit closer than people would have thought. So hats off to Vermont for putting up a good game, but Marquette obviously is the better team. They pull out and won. Pittsburgh, not only did they upset Iowa State, they absolutely dominated Iowa State all game long. They won by nearly 20 points, and it was for most of the game they were up by quite a bit. So Pittsburgh, thankfully, they proved me right, and they could be a very dangerous team. If they're beating Iowa State by 20, almost 20, think of the damage they could do to other teams. So then we've got Creighton and NC State. Now this game was pretty close, and then Creighton pulled out late again with some really good defense, and some really good shot selection. Their big dude, the white dude, I forget his name. He had 30 points, which I think is his career high. So he pretty much carried the team on his back to win that game. And Iona, which is coached by Rick Pitino, which, as we know, was the former head coach of Louisville when they won the championship and was fired for recruiting violations, and is now in Iona. They put up an okay fight against UConn, but UConn put out late and ended up winning by over 20 points. It was close at the half, and then in the second half, UConn proved its dominance, and that was a better team. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, right here, as you can see. Holy crap, guys. Another 1 seed goes down. 1 seeds had never lost a 16 seed until Virginia, and that was within the past 4 years. And then we have 2 16 seeds. Funny enough, the head coach of FDU, we saw a video of him the day prior saying that the more he watches Purdue, the more he thinks they can beat him, and he wants them to see this. He wants them to know that he thinks his team can beat them, and they did. They beat them. Zach Edey had, I think, 25 points. But here's the thing about Purdue. I think Purdue definitely was overrated. Should not have been a 1 seed. I think they were obviously the weakest and most vulnerable 1 seed, which they just lost in the first round. Outside of Zach Edey, they are not very good. It's a one-man show at Purdue, and as we know in basketball, a one-man show normally does not work out very well unless you're LeBron James in the NBA, because there's no defense in the NBA, but I digress. Purdue loses. Luckily, I had them losing in the second round to Memphis anyways, so doing pretty good there. Well, not too good, but at least not too much damage to my bracket. But honestly, if anything, this was the least surprising upset, but still a really amazing Cinderella story for FDU. Really awesome. And I mean, it's the first round, and we've already got so many upsets. In fact, after the first round, there were no more brackets. At the end of it, there were no more brackets perfect after the first round. That's pretty crazy. Providence and Kentucky. Kentucky pulls away late and beats Providence. I personally am not a big Kentucky fan. I'm a Duke fan. So obviously I am very anti-Kentucky. I had them losing to Providence, which probably was more of a me doing that based on my bias and my personal opinion. I probably should pick Kentucky because they probably were the better team. But regardless, you never know. Grand Canyon and Gonzaga. Gonzaga winning by 12. Grand Canyon put up a good fight. Not much to say there. 12 seed Drake versus 5 seed Miami. This was a very close game to the wire, and Miami pulled away late. I was actually pretty scared there because a lot of people thought that Drake could beat Miami. It was one of the most picked upsets. However, I am a big ACC basketball fan. I think it's the best conference in basketball, or at least it has been for a lot of time. I think the Big 12 is now, and the SEC are now better conferences, at least in the past 5 years. But overall, I think ACC is the most historic and best conference. And so I normally pick a lot of ACC teams to do well, especially last year. I think they had the record for the best performance of any conference ever last year, having 2 teams in the Final Four. Anyways, Miami pulls out late and is able to win, so good for them. And this was unfortunate for me. As I said, I had Memphis beating I had Memphis beating Purdue in the second round. However, Memphis loses late to FAU. They had a chance to win and did some pretty dumb plays and just threw the game away, really. But shout out to FAU for playing a good game. They are a really good team. They've only lost, I think, about 3 games this season. But, sometimes it doesn't work out. Then we've got Montana State, Kansas State. Kansas State, a very dangerous team. As we know, they beat Kansas a lot this year. Not a lot, but they beat Kansas here. They're a good team, a really good team, really good guard play. And they beat Montana State by 22. And then Arizona State and TCU. I actually had Arizona State in this upset. I thought that they were so on fire that they would not stop, and they only lost by 2. It was a nail biter. Anyone could have won that game. Just unfortunate that Arizona State couldn't get the win. And then Indiana beating Kent State. And yeah, that's the second round. As we know, obviously a Wednesday going down. Crazy to think how many upsets. This is probably one of the better tournaments so far, in my opinion, irregardless if my favorite teams are winning or not. Anyways, like I said, and I always say, be sure to like the video, comment down below how your bracket did at the end of the first round, and a lot of good games. The second round already today, and looking forward to it. And thanks for watching.